After the Light Died, Chapter 25, Fragments of Lies. When Susan was alone, she stayed that way. Not for hours, but for days. She watched and rewatched the broadcast from the scene of Robert's death, her eyes focused on one detail after the other. From the moment she told Raoul it was bullshit, she found it impossible to believe. The death of her husband was reason enough in most people's minds for her to shut herself away from the world. So, other than some brief deliveries of extra rations as a sign of their condolences, she remained undisturbed. Raoul might have dismissed her rejection of the official story, but as one of her squad and one of the few people present who knew Robert from their childhood years, she knew he would remain silent at her request and leave her be to see the truth for herself. His only contribution was an offer of a little plastic vial of blue dye. "I dye my hair blue because that was my sister's favorite color. She always loved it and said she wished there was more blue in the world. I wear it so she gets her wish. Robert's favorite color was blue too, so if you want." And he'd placed the vial into her hand with the same care she used in passing Robert Jr. to his late father. And she took it. Thus she worked for hours, printing out countless screenshots of the report on the scene, looking for every discrepancy she could find in every picture. Her eyes remained red, and space beneath them held seemingly permanent dark bags. The vibrant aqua color of her hair took some getting used to, seeing it reflected back at her in the glossy pictures, or in the moving pictures on screen when she watched and rewatched the video. "If I could only see his body," Susan pondered, and used her sense of quiet rage to keep tears from blurring her vision. "You can't see the truth through tears," she told herself, and moved on to the written report that stated Robert was dropped off at the open territory between multiple farms that served as one of the few appropriate landing zones for shuttles in the area. While it was still just an open patch of ground, it was good enough, and larger transports would eventually start using it as a food storage and transport zone for not just the continent but the whole planet. It was not one report that offered her the first hint of proof she required. It was in two. The first was the report of the drop-off. The security officers reported that they left him at his request and sped off east to report the drop-off since the shuttle was fast approaching. But the shuttle did not report an arrival for another hour, and it would have come from the direction they were heading. She cross-checked the schedule of flights in and out of the only functioning landing zone in the area, and no other shuttles were in the air that could have been confused with the right one. From there, the little problems in the report added up. If there were creepers there, then we should see someone other than militia in the area in search of their nest, but she checked the local chat channels, no discussion of security forces in the area at all, just militia who believed the official story. 2, there was the question of why she wasn't allowed to see his body. Too traumatic for me, my ass. The lies wouldn't be obvious at first, not unless someone knew Robert, or the creepers, or checked the data. Robert never would have asked the security forces to leave him like that, even in a pacified zone. She shook her head. The way he'd guided their squad in the hunt was cautious, too, in everything from checking their lines to making sure they formed up to move into the interior. And lastly, the locals said tribes are insular except to exchange offspring, and there's no way there would be another tribe here on what was their land. Susan's thoughts plagued her to no end. No end that was, save one. One single conclusion she could not escape from. They killed Rob. Susan whispered the words as if afraid she would be overheard, but once she said it in a whisper, she felt safer and repeated it over and over again until it was a roar ripped from her throat, and her entire body shook with rage, and her eyes stared back at her in the reflected glass of her polished fridge, unblinking and full of a desire for revenge. I fought the Combine. We killed humans, sure, but for the sake of all humanity. We killed traitors, conspirators, and collaborators, not just anyone who happened to disagree. Susan took slow, measured breaths and forced herself to sit down. Her son had, by some miracle, not awoken, leaving her in the silence of the house to think. The chair made a scraping noise as she pulled it back, and then clattered when she slammed the back legs down and dropped herself into it. Rob's bloody corpse made it evident that a peaceful appeal to reason was pointless, and it made her recall the slaughter of the protesters by the Combine. Hundreds of humans dead and nothing changed except for the militancy of others. And from those disparate groups she recalled a popular voice. When peace leads to violence, only violence can bring peace. Fine. If they want to play it that way, Susan snorted. She had to check to see if the videos had been forcibly removed from the public net yet. But if so, she had the originals. Not everybody will listen, but some will, and the rest will listen when guns are drawn. With those thoughts weighing heavily upon her mind, Susan Nguyen began to formulate her response to what had been done to the father of her child.